just me, or are the comedic elements of Stardust Crusaders getting stronger with every single episode? If you wanted to see Avdol dry-humping Joseph Joestar, you're gonna get it in this week's episode. That's just one of the many funny moments from this week's incredibly creative episode of Stardust Crusaders, which was continuing the battle with Joseph and Avdol fighting against Mariah and her magnetic stand, which the first half of the episode was pretty much all just played for laughs, especially because Avdol and Joseph pretty much go through the entire process of sex. They start out dancing, they're making out, even Avdol ends up getting right in Joseph Joestar's crotch, and then they end up basically dry humping for a little bit. It's a real funny scene, not only because it's incredibly awkward for them and the viewer, but all of the people in the town are watching, and it's really funny. Eventually things get really dangerous when they find Mariah right next to train tracks, and again, not thinking, they just decide to walk on them and they end up getting stuck, and this of course leads to a scene where both of their feet get attached and then they get stuck to each other, and you just know a train is going to come. And this scene is actually really intense because Joseph is trying to escape with Hermit Purple. He can't reach Mariah. He's trying to grab onto this pole, which eventually just breaks, and it seems like right as soon as the train is about to hit them, they make a quick escape, and they do because Avdol is able to burn this hole in the ground right underneath the track, and they're able to survive. And this is when Joseph actually tricks Mariah and tries to capture her with Hermit Purple, and he should have just strangled her immediately. This was a bad idea from the start, because this is, again, just another incredibly funny scene. Suddenly, Mariah's boobs just start exploding and getting big, and that's because she actually filled them with all of these nuts and bolts, and because they're all magnetic, they start flying at them like bullets, and they all end up getting hurt, and she makes a quick escape. This is where the best part of the episode comes into play, because Joseph uses his Hermit Purple to make a map of the town, and they figure out where Mariah is going to be, and they decide to split up, and they're going to perform a pincher attack. They're going to sort of box her in. It's funny how their magnetism started out because it was real small. It started out with just like bottle caps and nuts and bolts, and now it's freaking railroad tracks, cans, freaking giant cans of mangoes, and even this one guy's old pair of dentures, which happens to have a gold tooth in it. That alone is a really funny scene. The dog who's actually tied up to the chain, and he starts to like fly in the wind. Even a freaking car slams right down top of Avdol. But things get really crazy when it seems like they finally tricked Mariah, and she actually takes these knives and cuts the telephone poles, and all of them start to get attracted to them. Luckily, Avdol is able to burn them away, but this is where a twist comes in, and this is something that I did not expect at all, especially because it seemed like Joseph was about to be killed, he was about to be electrocuted, and he was begging Mariah, please, please save us, is there anything we can do to get out of this situation? And really, he was just sort of like coyly saying, look, if you don't save us, we're about to destroy you. And what's been going on is all of these pieces of metal and cars have been attaching to them, and he's been holding on to the ground the entire time, so he decides to let go, and both him and Avdol slam into Mariah, completely crushing her, destroying all of her bones. I thought she was dead at this point. At the end of the episode, they confirmed that every bone in her body has been broken, and she is going to be hospitalized and retire forever. So what's the rundown? On this week's episode of Stardust Crusaders, another really funny, action-packed episode. The first half was pretty much purely played for laughs, especially Joseph and Avdol dancing in the streets and then them awkwardly trying to separate from each other. And just when he was getting humped by him and just the oh my gods from Joseph Joestar, like this was one of the most funny anime episodes I've ever seen of any like comedic anime ever. It's that strong. And then it's immediately followed by a lot of really tense action, which was really surprising. On the technical side of things, this was a really good-looking episode. Not only was it really comedic and bombastic, but the action scenes were well done. Magician's Red looked really awesome. I especially love the scene when they had the railroad spike in between them, and they were trying to use their abilities at the same time and having to trade places. It looked really awesome, and that final pincher attack was great. And just the fact that that happened and they don't even think they planned that, and it just worked out, that made it even better. And it was just a really funny episode. Just all of Joseph's mannerisms, and Avdol alone just really compliments him. He's like the straight man of the group. Honestly, I think their duo is my favorite duo of the group. Like, I just love watching them. I'd love to see a whole series just about Joseph and Avdol going on adventures. That's how much I loved it. So, this was another fantastic, hilarious, and action-packed episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is also teasing the brand new stand user at the end, which is using some sort of weird shadow ability with eyes. When I saw the shadow for the first time, it totally looked like a Weedle from Pokemon. But still, this was a good episode right here. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I just loved it. I can only highly recommend it to fans of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and if you consider yourself a fan of action and comedy anime, this is the show for you. It is awesome. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And before you guys leave, please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Stardust Crusaders. What did you think of Avdol and Joseph's battle with Mariah? Did you think it was funny? Did you think it was action-packed? What do you want to see from the rest of Stardust Crusaders? Remember, guys, you can subscribe to our channel by clicking on the channel icon right up here. You can also follow us on social media like Facebook and on Twitter. And make sure to check out our brand new podcast show, The Powerful Nerdcast, in the description box below. Thank you guys for watching. Super Kami Guru 9000 out.